So there's some huge news on DACA. Now, this is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. This deals with kids or people who were brought to this country illegally when they were children. So, look, if you're brought here from Mexico when you're 3 years old, it's not necessarily your fault. What are you going to do? No, Mom, I can't go. I'm going to be an illegal. I'm going to run afoul of some ridiculous U.S. law. So, no, they're going to go with, right? So they leave their country, Mexico or wherever, South America, in some place, situations where their lives were literally at stake, and they had to move. So they come to America, and President Obama allows them to stay, allows them to work, get jobs, go to school under this program. So now Donald Trump, of course, he rises to prominence among the right by saying the worst things about immigrants, and especially undocumented immigrants. And this includes people under the DACA program. So he shuts it down back in September. He says, Democrats, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, Democrats? You're going to make a deal with me on the fucking wall. That's what you're going to do. So now there's actually some good news on this. So Trump tried to shut this program down. It looks like for now, the Dreamers are safe. Now, this is temporary. Now, Vox explains that on Monday, the Supreme Court rejected a highly unusual request from the Trump administration. So what they wanted to do, the Trump administration wanted to skip some steps and immediately remove DACA. The Supreme Court's like, no, we're not even going to listen to this request because it's incredibly unusual and it kind of goes against the process that you're supposed to go through. So they said that the Trump administration wanted to skip over the second level of the federal court process by having the Supreme Court consider an order made in January by a California district court judge. Now, the January order partially reanimated the DACA program with the Trump administration, which the Trump administration began winding down back in September, with the expectation that work permits issued under the program would expire in large numbers on March 5th. So that's where the March 5th deadline comes from. Now, immigrants who have work permits under DACA, Vox continues, or whose work permits recently expired are currently eligible to apply for renewals under the order. The Trump administration is trying to get that order overturned so that it doesn't have to renew any work permits while the case over the constitutionality of ending DACA works through the courts. Now, they say that this process is going to take quite a while, months, and it's very unlikely that both appeals courts, which, look, these appeals courts, the Second Circuit and the Ninth Circuit, they're actually fairly liberal, right? They're not going to come down on the side of the administration. So that means that the renewals so far will remain open, at least until the Supreme Court agrees to take up the cases after the appeals court rules. Now, that'll take place later on, the court's next term, or will almost certainly take place during that time, which starts in October of next year. So at this point, you might see a couple of different things happen. You could see Congress act and actually pass Clean Dream Act. I would be shocked if that's were to happen, but again, you never know, right? Or the court could again take up the issue of DACA itself and decide on the merits of the case. Now, it's very important to note that that's not what's happening right now. They're not actually taking the merits of the case. They're just saying, you can't actually do this that fast. You've actually got to go through the process. So, no, we're going to let those people continue to do these renewals. Now, the Department of Justice, as it stands right now has two different rulings that it has to fight against, that it's got to overturn. The Second and the Ninth Circuit Court. So, look, again, this is good news, but this doesn't mean that DACA is safe. Remember, the fight, again, isn't about whether it's legal to end DACA at all. That's not what they're fighting about. It's about how the administration actually did it. So very, very important distinction. So that means that, yes, while this is good in the short term, we do need a permanent long-term solution. Of course, ideally, that would include a pathway to citizenship. DACA is not enough. These people have lived here pretty much their entire lives. They have careers. They have education. It would be a waste to put all that money into these people and all that time to just send them to another country. No, they're already here. Just make them citizens already. These people they're not criminals. They're not rapists. They're all good people. So, yes, keep them here. Give them a pathway to citizenship so they can actually participate in society. Society that they will gladly help improve with their skills, with their money. Now, I don't think that's going to happen under the Trump administration. Look, any pathway to citizenship, Donald Trump put out his own immigration plan or plan for DACA recipients that said, okay, look, we're going to give you some concessions, or at least one concession in the form of pathway to citizenship, 12 years. But in return, we end chain migration, which in itself is incredibly problematic. And we're basically gonna limit legal immigration, and we're gonna build a wall. Absolutely not. That is a non-starter. That's $25 billion for a wall that's not actually going to work. That's ridiculous. It's a waste of money. In my opinion, that is a non-starter. Now, there is a little bit of hope. The best, I think, scenario in this situation, this is the best scenario that I can come up with, is that the courts get tied up past the midterm elections. And during that midterm, we have a progressive wave. And they actually do the right thing and actually save DACA, or do everything that they can and basically force Donald Trump to go along with them to save the DACA program. Now, whether or not that actually happens, it's a different question. But that's why it's actually important to get involved. We've got to get that progressive majority. We've got to get strong progressives into office who will actually protect this program, which is important for over 800,000 DACA recipients. They cannot wait. We need those strong progressives. Get involved. Get into the primaries, man. Primary elections are super, super important. They're actually more important than general elections. So get in there so you can pick that strong progressive and then crush the corporate Republican. So get out there, vote in the midterms, register if you haven't already, and all that. But again, the good news here is we have DACA renewals. That March 5th deadline, it's over, but there is still a lot of work to be done to save the dreamers. But at least there is one small victory. That's good. And for now, I'll take it. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.